as quickly, but I'm going to be showing you step by step everything. This is also something you can use as a reference for yourself later on, in case you missed a step or you didn't get to see something that I did. We put in directions in here for you, plus GIFs. So I'm going to zoom out of here by going to the magnifying glass and click 50%. And then you could see that we put all around the canvas. Here, step 1, how to do a new slide and add a page orientation. And on the left side of it, we put little GIFs. Let me scroll over to the side here of how to do that. So it just plays over and over again, so you can see the steps. Not only read the steps, but also see us do the steps as well. So this is something for yourself that you can look at on your own time, so that you can rebuild everything again. So it's okay if you're unable to make a copy. We'll make sure that the link is in that presentation as well, so that you can take a look at that. But we're gonna start off on Scratch. Again, we were saying in the beginning to have your email open so that you can make the same activity, my favorites activity. So I'm gonna go over here to my drive. And if you're in your email or in your drive, you'll always see the 9 grid called the app launcher. So here I have at the top right, the 9 circles in the shape of a box. And if I hover my mouse over it, it says Google Apps. You'll see the same app launcher in your email or in your Google Drive. And when I click on it, you have all the different apps that you can go to. Yours may look a little different from mine because you can reorganize these tiles however you want and to fit your needs, because sometimes you may not be using sites as much, so it might be at the bottom and so on. So there are 2 ways to get to a brand new Google Slides. You can go from your app launcher and go ahead and click Slides, and you can start working in your slides from there. The other way is here inside your drive, and you'll click New on the top left, then go down to Google Slides. There are 2 options here, from a blank presentation or from a template, and I'm going to be going to blank presentation. Again, the 2 ways to get to slides is from your app launcher and click on Slides. It's the yellow icon, and it may be in a different place than mine. Or go here in your drive, go to New, Google Slides, blank presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and click blank presentation. And letting that load. And automatically it has the themes panel open on the right side, and it already has the title slide layout already for me. But we're not going to be using that. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the themes box. And because we are starting from scratch for a drag and drop activity, I'm going to go ahead and take my mouse and select everything on here. So, because I don't need these text boxes. And I'm going to click delete on my keyboard, or I can do a right click and choose delete. So now I have nothing on here, and this is called the canvas. The first thing that we're going to do to create the drag and drop activity is to resize and change the orientation of this canvas. This blank white canvas right now is in a landscape mode, but I wanted to make it look more like a piece of paper for my students. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go up here to File, then scroll down all the way to Page Setup. It's almost at the bottom of the File menu. Again, File, Page Setup. When I click on Page Setup, you'll see it's automatically on widescreen 16:9. I'm going to click on the little drop down, and you'll see a total of 4 options. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Custom. And you'll see here it says it's 10 by 5.63 in inches. I'm going to keep it at inches. And again, I want this to look more like a piece of paper, which is an 8.5 by 11. So the first number I'm going to change is to 8. And then the second one is 11.5. So now I have an 8 by 11.5. If you wanted it the other way around, you'll just flip the numbers and that will be in landscape. But I want to do it in portrait. And then when I am done, I'm going to go ahead and click apply. You'll notice that now my canvas is not landscape anymore. It is now portrait mode. The next step that I'm going to do is change the background color. There is steps in the BUZZ Lightyear presentation on changing the background, but this one is about an image, which we will get to a little bit later during this demo. So I'm going to go back here to my presentation, and I have nothing on here. I can go ahead and click the word background, and the first one is color. And I'm going to choose a background color that makes it colorful but not too overbearing. So I have this like little light blue color here. And then I'm going to click done. So at least I have like a nice background color. The next thing I'm going to do is include a title. So this drag and drop activity we're doing is called My Favorites. Instead of just putting a regular text box, we're going to make it try to look more fancy by including a word art. So I'm going to go ahead at the top and click Insert and come down to Word Art. Some of you may be familiar with word art. If you were in Microsoft Word back in the day, this is like the popular way to make your text and your font a lot more prettier. So here I'm going to go ahead and type in My Favorites. And you'll notice that it is a white box. And we're going to keep it that way. And then when I click enter, you'll notice it will change into a word art. It's already defaulted for the Arial font with a gray text with a darker brown, black border. So to make this a lot prettier, instead of this basic gray kind of look, make sure it is selected, and you notice that I moved it up because it's at the title and it's at the top. And you'll see a paint bucket here. When I click on it, you can see that it's already checked off with the gray, but you can also have the option to choose the gradient to make it a little more, to pop a little bit more. So here you could see it turns to a green, and here you'll see the border color. And I'm gonna change this to a green as well so it can look more uniformed. And the next one next to it is the border weight, where I can make the border thicker. So I can choose 4 to make it pop up some more. So anytime you are formatting either a text, an image, or a text, an image, or a shape, you'll always have these options here to format the design and the look of it. The bucket, of course, is to fill in the whole color of the image, of the shape or the text. The little pencil is the border color. The next option is the border weight. 4 pixels or 8 pixels are a good number to use if you want a thick border. And the last one is the border dash, where you can also change, instead of a straight line, you can have it dotted lines, which is a little too busy there, or dashed lines, but we're gonna keep the border dash at the solid. You can also change the font of this word art. So I can do Pacifico, it has more cursive, but because we are working with littles, this might be a little too fancy for them. My favorite go-to is called Century Gothic. So it's a little more straightforward and easier for them to read. It doesn't have like the fancy A or the fancy G in there. So there I now have my favorites and the word art. And the next, so we've already done is change the orientation and included a word art. And now we're going to put in the boxes, or we call the containers, for the students to be able to drag their answers to. So I'm gonna go here on my toolbar, and you'll see shape, where you see the circle and the square. I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. And the first one is shapes. There's a variety of shapes that you can use, but for this example, I'm going to use the square or rectangle option. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And you notice my mouse turns into a plus. So I can start dragging and moving my mouse to about the size that I want. So here is my box. And again, just like in word art, and because the square is selected, I can change the color fill of it. So for this one, I'll do white, And the border, I'm gonna make it more black. And I wanna make this a little bit thicker so the students can see that they are separate different boxes. And I'm gonna keep the border border type to be a solid line. So now I have my box here. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. And I want 4 boxes for this activity. So what I'm going to do is use duplicate. So instead of me making this box several times, I want the same exact kind of box for a total of 4 times. So make sure that your square or your box is selected. And using your keyboard, there's a shortcut where it's Command D for a Mac or Control D for a PC. Again, Command D if you're using a Mac, or Control D for a PC, or you can also do edit and go to duplicate. I like to do things faster, so I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to do Command D, and it makes a copy of it for me right in front of it, and then I can move it over to the other side. I'm going to do this again, so I can have a total of my 4 boxes. Command D again, or Control D, and then place them here. And if you notice, I'm looking at the red line, so I can align my boxes together. I'm the type who wants to make sure everything is even. You're like me, those red box lines are a perfect way to align everything. So now I have my 4 boxes. I use duplicate so I can use the same one over and over. The next thing is also to include the text in which the kids will know which box they need to, what boxes each. So the first one is going to be color. Instead of getting another text box, I can go ahead and double click in the box. When I double click, you'll notice a blinking cursor, which means it's ready to type. So the first box here is color. And you'll notice it's very tiny, and I'll show you in a moment how to format that. I'm going to go into this box, double click again, and then this one's going to be pet. Go on to the third box, double click, type in shape, and then the final box, double click again, type in fruit. So now I have my 4 boxes, and they're all labeled, but they're all really tiny text, and it's in the center to the left. So what I'm going to do is select all of these boxes by dragging, and again, I'm going to drag my mouse over the 4 boxes and let go. And you notice that it selected all 4. Instead of me changing the font for every single one at a time, I could do it all at once. So I've selected everything, and then I'm going to change my font to Century Gothic, and I can increase the size of the font by clicking on the plus and minus. So I think it's a good size for them to see. And over here, you'll see the align option, where right now it's in the center on the left. I can change it to be at the top of the box, the middle of the box, or at the bottom. And for this example, I'm going to do the top. So now everything is all at the top and on the left. Now, if you do want to add different kinds of fonts, right now I use Century Gothic, but there's always a way to include more fonts. When I click the font box here, you'll see there's a long list of fonts that you can have, but there are actually more fonts. When you click on the drop down for the fonts, you'll see an option that says more fonts. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you'll see a list of all the fonts. Anything that's blue with a check, that means you already have on your in your fonts, that's already for you to select and go. But if you ever find a font that you really like and it's not in your list, you're just going to go ahead and click on it. So here I'll click Lobster and Dancing Script. Notice how it's blue and checked off. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So now I have that option. I'm going to go down here. Lobster is now in my list, and I can use that as my font. Again, this is not the best one to use, but it's to show you that you can add more fonts by going to more fonts. So I'm going to undo that, keep it here to make it simple for my students. Now I have created the activity that my students are going to be working on. The next part is for them to be able to have the manipulatives for them to drag and drop in the boxes their favorite color, their favorite pet, the shape, and their fruit. But before I do that, have you ever given them a Google slide and then they start resizing it by accident or deleting something or removing it? I've had that several times. So a trick to do that is, now that we've designed this, is to make this the background. So the first thing we need to do is download this slide as an image. I'm gonna go on the top left up here where it says File, and then down here you'll see Download. Then there's a list of different things that you can download, and the one we're going to do is PNG image current slide. There's only one slide at the moment anyways, but make sure you're selecting the correct slide that you want to download as an image. So again, File, Download, and then come to PNG current slide. You could use JPEG, but PNG usually has a better resolution, or it's not as pixelated or blurry. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And you'll see, because I'm using Chrome, you'll see that it downloads for me at the bottom of my screen. You may need to look on your own computer if it's in your download folder or if it's downloaded to your desktop, but find where it is saved or downloaded. And because it's Chrome, it automatically adds a bar at the bottom for me, which is easy to access. Now that I've downloaded it, I'm going to add a new slide by going up here on the top left with the plus sign. Instead of pressing plus, I'm going to do the drop down, and I'm going to choose blank right here, which is the last option. So I'm going to click blank, and now I have a blank slide. Here, I'm going to now make this image as my background so the students won't make any changes to it. So I'm going to click background, and instead of choosing the color, I'm going to do choose image. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. You have the option to get an image from your Google Drive, do a Google search image, take a picture automatically and on, but because we downloaded it, we're going to upload it. So the fast way, if you're using Chrome, if it's already down here, I can just click and drag it over. You'll notice there's a green plus sign, and that's showing that you're able to drag and drop it. And I'm gonna go ahead and let go. And you'll see that it's now in the background. I'm gonna click done. And then you'll see here that I can't make any changes to it, so your students won't have any option to make a mistake or accidentally delete anything that you're doing. So now that is done, now it's time to give the elements for the students to drag and drop. So I'm gonna go back here to the BUZZ LIGHTYEAR, and you can see it in the example. We had colors, we had shapes, pets, and fruit for them. So for the colors and the shapes, we can go ahead and make them right here in slides. Notice how I'm only doing on slide 2, because if I do give students slide 1, then they're going to have an opportunity to change it or make a mistake on here. So make sure you are on slide 2. And I'm gonna go up here to shape. And because I'm doing different colors, I'm going to use the circles. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the circles. And we had a total of 6 different colors. And I'm using the outside of the canvas so that the students can take that and put their answer over in the correct box that they want. So we're utilizing the outside of the canvas as an opportunity for students to pick and choose what needs to go on the canvas. So we're taking advantage of the outside space. So back here on my circle, I'm gonna go ahead and change and format it the way that I want. So notice I'm only doing 1 circle at the moment. And I'll choose the paint bucket. Their favorite color could be red. I'm gonna make their border black. And I'm gonna make the border weight 8. So it's nice and thick. So now I need to create 5 more. Again, the shortcut to make a copy of it so that you're not, so that it's the same exact size. I'm gonna do Command D again, Command D, Command D, and D. Now they have the same exact shape. Now I can go in and change the colors. We have red. If you're like me in the rainbow, I'm gonna go rainbow color order, select it, choose the yellow, select the next circle, make it green. And again, all I'm doing is selecting the shape and filling in the color by choosing the paint bucket. I'm gonna do purple. So now I have my 6 colors. And the next one I'm going to do is shape. So just like in slides, they have other shapes that you can use. So the first one could be square. And I'm gonna make this a transparent color, meaning it's see-through in the middle. But I'm going to make the border red and make it thick. So I have a square as an option if their favorite color is a square. Another option is, excuse me, is a rectangle. So again, I'll go back to the shape, to the square shape, but instead of making it a perfect square, I'm gonna make it long and wide. Change the color of that, make it orange with a border weight of 8. Another option for my students is a triangle. Again, go to shapes, and it's the second option next to the circle. Drag about how big I want, format it again. And again, I'm using 8 pixel as a border weight. And of course, I didn't put a circle in here. So I'm going to use circle as an option. I'll make this one, sorry, transparent. Border is blue, 8 pixel. I know we're also short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there because you can continue making more shapes as well by going to the shape. But the next one I'm going to talk about is images. So now for the pets on the right and the fruit, we're going to be using images. There are 2 ways to look for images. First, you can search within Google Slides without having to go to another tab or another window. So what I'm going to go here is click Insert and go to Image. Then you have a list of options. We're going to go to Search the Web. So I'm going to go ahead and click Search the Web. And here you'll have a panel on the right to search. So different possible pets that students may like, of course, maybe a dog. But I want a transparent image. So I'm going to look for transparent dog. And search that, and you'll see there's a list of different dogs. I'm going to use the cartoon one. And then click on it, then click Insert. And give it a moment for it to load. And you know it's transparent because there's no white background on it. I can resize it, then move over here. So it's an option for them. You can go back, go to Insert, Image, search the web. And this time I want to look for a cat. You can see all the different kinds of cats. I'm going to choose this one. Click Insert. Here I have another cat. Okay, and we've got some extra time. And now I have different pets. So again, to search for images, you can go to Insert, Image, search the web. Sometimes though, when you are searching for a transparent image, when you're searching using the search, the web option in Google Slides, you won't always get the exact transparent image that you're looking for. So sometimes actually doing a Google search helps. So what I'm going to do here is go to a new tab and going to do a Google search for our, our fruits for the 4th option. So for example, apples. So I've searched apples and right now it's under all, but I'm gonna go to images. So make sure you click images. and then you'll see a lot of different apples that you can choose from. But I want specifically a transparent image. So here you'll see settings and tools. I'm going to select tools, and you'll see a drop down where you can filter your searches specifically to something that you want exactly. Under color, I'm going to click on that. I can choose any color. I can choose a black and white image, transparent, or any of these colors. I want a transparent image, so I'm going to choose transparent. And here you can see all the different kinds of fruit that you can select from. So I'm just gonna say, ooh, this is the perfect one I wanna use with my students. So when I click on it, you'll see a preview here on the right side. When you see those little gray and white boxes, that means it is a transparent image. So I'm gonna right click on here and choose copy image. And I'm gonna go back to my slides presentation that I've been working on. And I'm gonna go here and click, right click and paste. Oops, my bad. Paste, or you can do edit, paste, and you can see here I've included as an option for my students. So you can continue searching for all the different kinds of pets and fruits, and including all the different shapes for your students to select from so they can drag and drop it over. So because of time, I also want to make sure I want to give you an opportunity to see how to include audio and import a slide. So you already seen how we included the shapes to make the different colors and putting in actual shapes, searching for images within Google Slides, and searching for images outside by making an actual Google search in a new tab and copy and pasting it into your slide here. So the next part, which is really great to use, is inserting audio. So a lot of your students in the primary, if they have difficulty reading, including audio really helps. Unfortunately, Google Slides doesn't have an actual recorder in here, but you can include your own audio recordings. So an option that we like to share is a website called Online Recorder. So I'm going to go back here to the BUZZ LIGHTYEAR presentation, and you can see, if I slide over here to step 7, adding audio. We've included a link here on how to use online voice recorder and some step-by-step directions, but I'm going to show you here. So I can just click on this link, and it's going to open in a new tab for me. Online voice recorder. So what's really good about this is that you don't need to actually install any software. You can just start recording and go. So I can give one overall direction for all of my students on what to do, or I could do individual for each thing they're going to drag and drop. So here I'm on onlinevoicerecorder.com, and all I have to do is click on the red button and start recording, and then stop when I'm done recording. So here, I'm going to just give an example for my students to do. Choose your favorite color and put it in the color box. So now I stopped. You can trim it if you wanted to remove a part of the beginning or the end, but I think it's perfect, so I can replay. Choose your favorite color and put it in the color box. And if I think it's good to go, I'm going to go ahead and click save. And you'll notice here it's downloaded here into my computer of my recording. So before that, I start inserting it into my presentation. I'm going to go back to my drive, and I'm going to upload that recording to my Google Drive. So here I'm in my drive, and here's my recording. I'm just going to drag it. Notice you see the green with the plus sign, and drop. Give it a moment for it to load. And this was an example for color. You'll see that it automatically names it Record Online Voice Recorder. So a good thing to do is always rename it so that you know what recording it is. So here I've already uploaded my recording. I'm going to right click on it and choose rename. This one was for favorite color. You can name it however you want, something that's easier for you to find and remember. You can go ahead and click OK. So now I have it in my drive. I'm going to go back to my presentation here. And this is the one the students will be working on. I'm going to go up here and click Insert, go to Audio. And Google likes to think for me, so it already knows the last thing that I put in here is favorite color. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click Select. And it automatically puts in a little speaker for you. And I'm going to resize it a little bit so it's a lot easier for the students to see. And I can drag it here, resize it, and put this button right here. So when the students go to this activity, all they have to do is click on the speaker, click play. Choose your favorite color and put it in the color box. And that's how you create an audio recording and insert into Google Slides. So notice how I only put this one for color, or you can choose to make an overall direction, just one recording and put it in the corner for the students to listen to, or you can make an individual recording, one for color, one for pet, one for shape, and fruit. So that is how you insert a audio. The last thing we're going to show you is importing a slide. So if you created a slide already and you're working in another Google slide, and you notice that, oh, I want to bring that over here, but I don't want to have to recreate the wheel and make the whole thing all over again. So you can import specific slides from other presentations. Again, in the BUZZ Lightyear that we shared with you, on slide 8, I'm going to scroll this down, you'll see here highlighted in this light yellow says name sort slide to import. I'm going to zoom in a bit so that's easier to see. We included a digital tiles for you, so no one has time to put in all of the, excuse me, all of the letter tiles in there. So we created one for you that you can start importing and add into there. When you click on it, it is a forced copy, so you can make a copy and it's yours. And it's called name sort. I'm just going to show here. So this is another presentation that we are sharing with you, and you'll see here on slide 2 called name sort, where the students can move the letters and find the letters that are in their name and the letters that are not in their name. So if someone was asking about the lowercase letters, here are the uppercase letters. So to get it into this, presentation, here we go. I wanted to add another activity. So the first one that they're going to do is my favorites, and then I want them to be able to sort their letters in their name all in one slide. So here I'm going to go up here to File, go down to Import Slides, and then it's going to look for all the presentation Google Slide presentations in my drive, and so I can find it again. It's called New Name Sort. I'm going to search that. Give that a moment. And here you'll see name sort. I'm going to select it, then click select. And then it's going to show me all the slides in this presentation. I don't need slide 1, but I want slide 2. So I'm going to click on that one and that one only. And go ahead and click import slides. And now I've imported the slide. So my students will do the activity on my favorites, then they can go to the next slide and they can drag and drop it. And again, we made a forced copy so that you can have your own and make sure that it's saved into your drive. And you'll get the name sort from this BUZZ Lightyear on, sorry, my mouse is really wonky right now. It's on step 8. And we put at the bottom of it, it says name sort slide to import from. So make sure that you make a copy so it's in your drive, and then go to the slide that you are working on. I have way too many windows. And you can import it. Okay. And we are short on time. We are posting this recording on our T3 website so that if you need to go back, you can do so. And I'll see you guys in the main room.